Well, good morning, everybody. It is morning where I am, which is Whidbey Island, Washington. And of course, the purpose of this video, that people know that I'm in Whidbey Island, Washington, but I wanted to go ahead and post this on my public YouTube channel because it's a good thought. It's worth sharing with other people and getting other people involved with, other than the gentleman that I will be having the privilege of beginning a mentoring in ministry and just general discipleship discord that we start tonight. So as I was thinking about starting that with these gentlemen tonight, I thought it would be cool to just hop on here, make this video really quick, to share with them, to get them prepared for tonight, what I'm hoping to bring to the table and have them bring to the table as well. And then, as I said, I think it's a good enough thought to share with anyone else who wants to participate in it, who might come across my absolutely no followers ministry on YouTube. That being said, I'm Pastor Davo. Name of the channel is Pastor Davo. I am recently having joined the United States Navy, which is why I'm now in Washington instead of Paducah, Kentucky. And in that process, I've come to a place where I have been invited and asked to help lead some men in maturing in their ministry, in their walks with God, in discipleship, and prepare themselves to lead others in walking with God and discipling others, and potentially taking next steps towards fulfilling their call in the world, whether that's vocational ministry, bivocational ministry, or just the general priesthood of the believer ministry. All that being said, way too many thoughts. I'm on my way to play disc golf, which is why I'm wearing this hat and shirt combo, which doesn't matter. I'm just all over the place right now. Anyway, here we go. So where I'm starting the group, and so gentlemen, I'm posting this in the Discord for you primarily. As I said, I'm sharing it with YouTube because I feel like it's good enough to share with YouTube. But what I'd like for you guys to do tonight, to prepare for tonight, and for everyone else, just whenever you want to come back on here and drop a comment in the YouTube, I want you to primarily focus on reading Genesis chapter 2. We are going to talk for the first few times we get together. If we get deep into Bible study, we're going to talk about what the Bible has to say about what it means to be masculine, biblical masculinity, or as the manuscript I wrote, I jokingly titled Mansplaining, How to Be a Mansplainer. It's not as funny as I think it is. But anyway, so I want you guys to just open up Genesis 2. Really, I just want you to focus on reading the portion where it talks about the creation of Adam, the creation of male, and the creation of female, and the distinctions between how male was created, how female was created, and the specifics of to whom God spoke what commands in Genesis chapter 2. All of that matters a whole lot in rightly dividing context to exegete biblical truth, as we'll say, to live by grace, to understand God's perspective when it comes to being a man. What I want to share is this. Genesis chapter 1. We oftentimes hear this talked about as Genesis 1 is the macroscopic view of creation, and then Genesis 2 is the microscopic. It gets into the details. And I understand that perspective, but I want you to instead read Genesis 1 with a different perspective and see if I'm right about this. Genesis 1, when it gets to the creation of man, we read it from the context of Genesis chapter 2. And this is something we'll go into later. I've written 3 books about what I'm about to share. We have a tendency to interpret previous chapters according to chapters that come later. The way I like to say it is this: most Christian doctrine starts in Genesis 4 and then imposes Genesis 4 onto Genesis chapters 1, 2, and 3. And by doing that, you change what Genesis chapters 1, 2, and 3 mean. And we do the same thing within Genesis chapters 1, 2, and 3. If you don't read them as 1, then 2, then 3, but instead you read them as 3, then 2, then 1, or 2, then 1, then 3, or whatever. You read them out of order, you will not exegete the meaning of the text properly. You will not be able to rightly divide what's written to understand what God needs you to know about creation, and specifically about who you are as an image bearer, who you are as a created being designed to rule and reign on his behalf. That's a whole other conversation. So where am I going with this? Forget what you know about Genesis 1, 2, and 3. Start fresh with me. Genesis chapter 1, you get down to verse 26, and it says, "So God said," and I'm quoting this from memory, so forgive me if it's not exactly the New King James or NLT or whatever that you like, and it's kind of amalgamation of multiple. "So God said, let us create man," is how it usually reads. How it should read, if you get into the nitty-gritty of the grammar, is "let us create either mankind or humanity or human beings or the species, which will be known as man," right? So this is let us create humans as a species, in the same way it says, let us create the birds of the air, the beasts of the field, and the fish of the sea. That's what Genesis 1 should read like. Let us create the species that will bear our image and likeness. Let us create them after our image and likeness. And they, all of humanity, not males, not men, but humanity, will be the dominant reigning species in the earth, because it will bear our creative, authoritative image and likeness. And then it goes on to say, so he created them, all of humanity, not Adam and Eve. He created the species of humanity, male and female. And then he blessed them to be fruitful and multiply and have dominion in the earth. When you read it that way, then when you read Genesis chapter 2, you should not see a regurgitation of Genesis 1, but an initiation and fulfillment of Genesis 1. That being said, I want you to read Genesis 2 predominantly. I want you to read it from the perspective of looking at Genesis 1, as I just shared. And I look forward to those of us who are going to be on Discord tonight, to fellowshipping with you, worshiping God together, hearing about what's going on in your life, and developing a vision and a plan, writing it down and making it plain, as Habakkuk tells us to do, so that each of us, myself included, through this process, grow in the Lord, grow in fellowship with other believers, and take on the responsibility rightly to raise up sons and daughters in the faith, to make disciples, so that they will go forth making disciples. And we, as Genesis 1 blessed us and commands us to do, will be fruitful and multiply and have dominion. Bless you guys.